Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. Whoo, 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 whoo. How's it going today? How's it going today? I hate all of you who are telling me my mic isn't working right now. I hate all of you because oh, oh boy. You know, I can generally tell. I can generally tell. And I'm on to you. Well, today we are going to be talking about the curious case of the SUV of peace in Waukesha, Darrell Brooks being the unfortunate occupant, the unwitting occupant of the SUV of peace. Darrell Brooks just kidnapped by an SUV and driven in horror by the Stephen King-esque possessed vehicle that decided on its own to run into a crowd of terroristic children and grandparents and moms and dads and you know was just trying to cleanse the earth of terrorism with its unfortunate unwitting passenger Darrell Brooks, who was trying the entire time just to stop the SUV, but he couldn't. It was a madman. It was under the control of dark demonic forces. What was he supposed to do? Strapped in with a seatbelt by force, dragged, kicking and screaming into the crowd of people as he tried to even roll down the window to warn them. He's calling police on his cell phone the whole time. Help, help, help. I'm in some mix of maximum overdrive and Christine. I'm trying to get away, but I just can't. Help me. Help me. Won't somebody please think of the me? Please. But of course, no one did. No one wanted to stop him, frankly. It's really the police's fault, emergency services, the parade goers themselves. I mean, if more of them had gotten in front of the car by sheer force of physics, they could have stopped it. But no, they all just let it happen. And now Darrell Brooks has been wrongly charged. And we're going to watch his preliminary hearing today to see this injustice. Now, I know they're going to slander Darrell Brooks as some sort of routine habitual offender, you know, in the media. Talk about how he's, you know, got all sorts of criminal history and stuff like that. Obviously, a frame job by the CIA or the KKK or the Al Qaeda. I mean, it doesn't matter who did it. But so he has been charged with 77 counts of different things. I don't know what they are. His hearing's about an hour. And we're going to watch it in just a second once I get it pulled up here. YouTube. Let's see. Who should we pick that would be the most offended by what we're doing? Law and crime. All right. We've got this. We've got this. We're getting everything ready to go. And we will share this edge tab. Not that one. This one. with audio. Big me or little me? What do you think? I don't know if there's going to be any particular stuff, so I'm going to probably stay big. If they pull up like a screen share of some sort, we'll grab it. We'll make them big. Have you seen the clip of Scott Adams going full Jack Murphy on one of his female chats? Nope. Someone posted something about it on my locals page, but I have not watched it. Rano says the nose looks the same size in both. Well, yeah, it's like the speed of light, right? It's a constant speed of light in a vacuum. What's that black book with a skull on it? What black book with a skull on it? Hold on. That one? This one? This is Storm of Iron. If that's what you're talking about. But I don't know. Okay. We've got Scott Adams went full beta hammer. What does that mean? Does that mean it was a good Scott Adams rant or a bad one? I can't tell because I know he had a take the other day that people were not super happy with. It was bad. Bad take. Ooh. Uh-oh. Aggressive ranting. I'll have to check. I'll have to check it out. It'll be interesting. Maybe at the end of this we'll watch it for fun. Oh shoot, I was going to look for something. Dang it. Hold on. I was supposed to get things ready a little bit ahead of time, and then my little wonderful daughter wanted some eggs. So I made her eggs. Okay, that's fine. There wasn't anything ready to go. There's this cool feature that I've been meaning to try out, and I couldn't figure out. I saw how to do it, and then I lost how to do it when they changed something, and then I found it again. It was there the whole time. I just wasn't looking in the right place. How to premiere a video after a live stream, so I can have like an upload ready, and then of a short video, and then when the live stream is done, whoever's hanging around at the end can just go watch the new video right away. So if I've got like a 10-minute, that could be done. So I'll be doing that maybe next week or something. So because there are a couple videos that are out there. I think some videos of last night and yesterday daytime might get made. We'll see. There was I had some rants going on. I don't know if you caught them. I was in a mood. Basically, Fauci can put his hand in a garbage disposal for all I care. Billy Witch Doctor 99 says this for that great Fauci rant from yesterday. Oh, hey, there it is. Also, I'm willing to bet that guy Fauci talked about from California was a Fed. What kind of idiot just admits they're planning to murder someone to a random cop at a traffic stop? Well, your officer, you see, I wasn't speeding because I'm very carefully driving the speed limit because I'm on my way to go kill an official in Washington. Yeah. I mean, who knows? Who knows? There are dumb people out there who end up doing stuff like that, but at the end of the day, public figures, especially government politicians and stuff, they have increased exposure, and they know that their job is compromising in that way, and that's why they get paid a lot of money. And that's why they are offered protective services from law enforcement. They have their own special law enforcement services, like Secret Service, etc. There's a whole lot of of compensation that goes on for what they have to deal with. Okay, and then Stephen Dunnaw says they need to let him out of jail before the Easter parade. Oh, good God. That guy said he was going after Biden too. It reminds me of So I Married an Axe Murderer, when the lady confesses to killing one of the victims, right, of Mrs. X. And then the chief is like, yeah, she confessed to a couple of other murders. Abraham Lincoln, all this other stuff. Just going to kill everybody. Doug Murray says, Nick, my first day off at home in 8 months here in Georgia, although I'm a native Houston Texan myself, I shall drink bullet bourbon in your honor and service to all of us in the chat tonight. Cheers. Oh, thank you. The Denialist says, are we about to see more oppression of black people? Yes, I think so. Stephen Cooper says that pitch wasn't nearly as convincing as the Canabro is. Cindy J says, what kind of chocolate do you use on your Ritz Reese's cookies? Almond bark, melted chocolate chips. I think it's Baker's chocolate or something like that. I'll have to ask Lady Rackets. Cindy, if you email me with that question, I'll make sure and get the answer from the person who makes them. Okay. Let's get started on this, shall we? I think we've got a pretty decent crowd. Oh, you know what? I mean, we do have a large crowd here. Everybody watch out for rogue SUVs. Very dangerous to be in chat today. Some of you are cool. Don't come to chat today.
Everybody that's here that's agreeable. If we have any other challenges, we'll let you know, but I don't.
Yes. What's your opinion on Oban? Overpriced? Oban's good. Oban's good, but it's got like a wine characteristic to me. It's a little bit. Do I have the volume way down? Nope. Hopefully they pick up the volume. It's a little sweet for my taste.
Case number 21CF, 1848, state of Wisconsin versus Darrell Brooks.
Holy shit, this is really quiet. This is really, really quiet. I'm going to turn me way down. Okay. I'm going to turn me way down. Just a second. Okay. I'm way down. So let's see. Let's see how loud it is. This is way quiet.
Matter is tabbed to Judge Boring.
Oh, Long Crime took it down. No way. They fucking took it down live. You pussies. That's the most embarrassing shit you could have possibly done. Oh boy. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Just a second. Oh boy. Unfortunately, there's another one. We'll just grab it. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Here we go. Here we go. Just a second. Let's see. Preliminary hearing. Darrell Brooks. All right. Oh, hold on. Let me check the volume.
I'll let you know if anything changes downstairs.
Thank you, sir.
Could have just allowed us into the courtroom.
They haven't turned the audio on yet either.
All right, hold on.
Time we talked about the level of decorum that is expected. Emotions are going to be running high. Please do as well as you. I really appreciated that. I know the court system does as well. So I'd ask that if you are having trouble with what you're hearing, please step outside. There are victim witness people from the DA's office that can assist you. Any one of the deputies that you see outside could assist you as well. So pursuant to Judge Boren.
Okay, so this is the audio on this one. This is the audio on this one. So it's great.
The trial court's general order. We do have a pool camera.
Wait, I have to tweet something real quick. Hold on. This is very important. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but I am a creature of the internet. Let's see. Does Long Crime not actually have a Twitter account? I mean, not that I'm looking for that. Not that I would be doing anything. Oh, here it is. Gotcha. Found it. Odd. Pure coincidence, I'm guessing. Okay, here we go. Not that I need to stop literally everything I'm doing just to shitpost, but you know, if someone says it's up for them, hold on. Nah, it's gone for me, man. It is gone. Okay, we'll get back to this. Sorry, you got to have fun with life. All right. Uncivil. Oh, shit. Does he want the link? Okay. I can bring Uncivil in. Fair warning, Kurt. I'm going to have to turn your audio way down, just like mine, of course. It's in the chat there, Kurt. I'll wait to start till you pop on. And then we'll get up there. That was amazing. I couldn't have asked for a funnier outcome than that, honestly. Like that tickles me pink. Cause I didn't, you never know what to believe when someone's like, oh yeah, Law and Crime's really annoyed that you're using their stuff. It's like, why? I mean, they're getting lots of views. They're there with their thing that they're doing. And then the rest of us are out here actually commentating and adding a bunch of, attempting to add a bunch of value. Maybe I don't add value, but I add me to it at least. Switch back to their stream when they unprivate. Oh, I don't know if they're going to. Waiting for Kurt to pop on to join in. Was the SUV charged with anything? No, the true terrorist hasn't been charged at all. Random 11. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm good at that. I'm sure it was a coincidence. Peter says, not that I need to stop literally everything to shitpost. Who do you think you're fooling, Nick? At least myself. Where you at, Kurt? Oh, man. Kurds! We got to start the show. Law and Crime has my name censored in the chat. Stop being... Guys, it's really easy to go on the internet and not be embarrassing. They're failing at it. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh shit, you're really loud. Just a second. Not your fault. I'll bring you down. Bring you down to where I am. Because the audio on the trial is really low. Okay, I got you now.
Sorry about that.
No, it's not your fault. It was my fault. My fault entirely. Welcome, buddy. How's it going?
So your kid and I share a birthday.
Really?
Yeah.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, man. That's awesome.
Thanks.
So you had a little you had a little drink last night, I saw.
I did have some drinks last night. Yes. They were enjoyable. There will be more drinks tonight.
What were you having?
Oh, what did I have last night? I had some IPAs, and then I had some shots the bartender gave me, which I don't quite remember. I think there was some peach schnapps with some whiskey and some other things that I think was served. It was good. I had fun.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, man. Look at the stern look on this gentleman's face. We got a good pause screen here. So did you witness the cuckening that just happened of Law and Crime?
I did not. What happened?
So the preface of this is the other day, someone comes into the chat and they said, by the way, Law and Crime really doesn't like, they knew someone from Law and Crime. They said they really don't like that I use their feed from time to time on these trial coverages. And so then I was using Law and Crime's video of this thing, and I start playing it, and 2 minutes go by. Bam! They privated it. It was gone.
Law and Crime doesn't like you?
I apparently not. Apparently, my name is censored in their chat too.
Is it really? That's kind of hilarious.
That's so good.
That's unfortunate.
Not for me, for them.
What's the beef, man? You're just covering this thing, same things they're covering, and offering opinion. Like that's unforgivable sin or something.
It's not. Yeah, that's the. I mean, apparently they don't realize that, like, you know, you have your copyright protections are pretty diminished when you're covering something that is a public record, right? Like, it's
Yeah, there's
not
no
strong.
there's no underlying copyright to it really, because it's all public hearings. So yeah, and what creativity are you guys adding? None. So
Right.
there's what is the copyright interest in this when it's a documentation of a purely factual work in which you're going to try to claim copyright because you chose where to aim the camera, like you have a whole bunch of choices. Copyright's pretty thin.
It's good. And the other thing is, if they had commentary, like if they added someone to do commentary, I wouldn't want it. Like, I don't want other people's commentary when like Fox interjects and has their stupid expert come on during the break. I always like mute it, skip it. I don't want to hear what they think. That's the whole point, is I'm adding the commentary.
Correct.
And whoever's on the panel, of course, is adding it with me. That's what I think we bring to the show. Speaking of which, joined by Uncivil. I'm putting you in the description. Holy
Thanks.
crap, you're 1,600 away from 50,000. Dude,
Excellent.
that is
so
awesome.
If you would like to go over to my channel, Uncivil Law, and sign up, subscribe to help me get over that 50,000 mark in celebration of my birthday, you can provide me a birthday gift of crossing 50,000 just by going to my channel and hitting the subscribe button. And did you know for 99 cents, you too can become an uncivilian? It's true. By hitting the join button, you'll get the cool little scale icons by your name, and you get your name on stream and other cool benefits like member nights and things like that. So become an uncivilian today for 99 cents. It's literally the least YouTube will let me charge you.
Let me
do those things.
Let me say this in the chat. Volume, I'm going to pin this comment. Volume is low because court audio is extremely quiet. So
not all my subscribers get banned, but some of them do, because I have a different you have a different culture in your stream than I do, which is perfectly fine. I don't begrudge you your culture. I enjoy your culture when I come over there, but on my stream, I enjoy a different environment on my term. My house, my rules.
There you go.
So, yeah.
There you go. At home, I drink wine. When I'm out, I drink whiskey, right?
That's right.
There you go. By the way, Cooper and Thief is a good red wine. I like it a lot. Aged in whiskey barrels. Very, very nice. If you like red wines. I don't know. Do you like red wine?
Yeah, I enjoy wine. I tend to prefer New World wine. I tend to prefer it less aged. I tend to prefer more fruit flavor on my red wine. Probably my favorite red wine is Red Zinfandel. For whites, I tend to probably my favorite is Albarino or Sincere. But yeah, I do enjoy some wine.
Try Cooper and Thief. This stream not sponsored by Cooper and Thief.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get going. Here we go.
We have a news camera or a news feed through the radio.
Christ, I can't hear anything.
And also a still camera. Nobody is allowed beyond those people to record this either audio or visually. So if you do have your cell phones out, I would ask that you put them away. It's not permitted per the judge's order. There's a number of other media outlets here. Any media that is going to be recording or doing otherwise must be down in the jury assembly room to effectuate that. So with that, we have some housekeeping to do. We have a second amended criminal complaint that's been filed on the case. Who's going to be lead counsel today for the defense?
I am.
So Attorney Keys, has Mr. Brooks received a copy of the criminal complaint or the second amended criminal complaint?
Yeah, hasn't he been charged with 70 crimes now?
Yes.
Or something like that?
77.
That's a lot.
A lot of crime.
Sir, I'm gonna walk through these. I intend to go through each, but what I'll do is package each one with what it's, the charges, what the penalties are.
Okay, I'm gonna do this once. Dylan telling me to turn up the volume on the YouTube video. It's maxed out, dude. The
Now,
court
didn't you
audio
recently
is
figure
low.
out some sort of solution with voice meter or something where you figured out something? Or
No, it's. I mean, that's for my mic. Like,
oh yeah,
piping in other audio. I might be able to do that and
no,
crank it up.
I tried
some-
all that stuff. It doesn't really work. Streamlabs just needs to fix their audio. Their audio leveling is crap, and I refuse to pay them.
Yeah. So this is the, and if I did like a post, if I did a post gain on this, it would
Mhm.
probably sound horrifying. But
Yeah.
let me see. I might have one possible solution. One possible solution, but I doubt it. Because since the audio is running into StreamYard, there's not a ton that can be done with it. Nope. I can't even
StreamYard
crank the
sucks.
volume.
That's the truth. StreamYard sucks.
so there we go. But no, I have the volume maxed. It's not me. It's the just kind of unfortunate. That's why I've got us turned down. So here we
Yep.
go.
But then reference,
Blacked out says use OBS. You sad boomer fox. OBS, by the way, wouldn't handle this much better. And second of all, with OBS, you can't easily share with another person on the call.
Yeah, that's the problem. OBS, you can fix the audio issues, but you can't really have other people join. Sometimes what I do is I'll capture the StreamYard's window in OBS and then actually stream it in OBS rather than in StreamYard, so I get the best of both worlds. But that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's all a mess. But if you like pipe StreamYard into OBS, you're still dealing with you then end up with one source audio. So
Yeah.
it doesn't it's not like you can balance it.
Yeah,
StreamYard
you can compress all the audio into a range, so it won't be perfect because you still have the imbalance between the sources, but at least it will be better ish.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's terrible. Anyway, this is just the deal. When the court audio is this low, that's what we got.
Yep.
who the victim is. Any objection by the defense to that? Or would you like me to read each one of them separately?
I don't think each count needs to be read separately. We also have reviewed with Mr. Brooks the charging language of all of the new counts, and we are waiving any reading of
Thank you.
anything.
Okay. thank
Why
you.
waive reading?
I
If you're
do.
I mean,
think
if you're the
pursuant to
defendant, why not
statute,
just
have to
make them
review
waste their
this with
time?
Mr.
It'll be
Brooks.
fun.
Mr. Brooks, we talked about counts 1, 2,
I'm already
3,
screwed, so
4,
yeah.
and
Why?
5
Yeah, just
the
read them
last
all.
time we met.
I'm good. I've got nothing better to do.
There's now been additional.
This would be a 6-hour hearing.
It's not my problem. You're the guys who want to charge me. Why am I making it more convenient for you? You want to put me in jail for the rest of my life, and I'm screwed anyway, so I got nothing but time. Read them, baby. Read them all.
Ryoji Mata says, you're quieter than the damn grave, man. I have my volume max too. By the way, law and crime throwing a fit. Lol.
Charges, as you know, filed in the second amended criminal complaint charge. Count 6 charges you with first-degree intentional homicide, use of a dangerous weapon. That's regarding victim F. That is a matter that carries a maximum possible penalty of sentence to life imprisonment. That may be increased by not more than 5 years due to the penalty enhancer.
Life
Counts
can be
7
increased.
through
They get to live
67
longer. Yay.
all charge you individually with first-degree reckless endangering safety, use of a dangerous weapon. Each of those are standalone charges. Each of those have the same maximum possible penalty. That is a fine of not more than $25,000, imprisonment for not more than 12 years and 6 months or both. Each of them has an enhancer penalty, use of a dangerous weapon, that could increase that penalty by not more than 5 years. That's for each one of the counts between 7 and 67.
This trial is going to take forever. Like, this trial is going to take forever because they're going to have 7 to 67, 60 victims of reckless endangerment, and they're going to have to prove the elements for 60 different criminal acts.
That's, again, not my problem. I want to confront all 60 of them. I'll get all 60 of them on the stand. I'm going to
Put 'em all on the
cross-examine all of them,
stand.
man. Not my problem. I got nothing better to do.
Ty asks if I think this judge drinks Jack Daniels. It looks like this guy inhales Jack Daniels. He just vapes it.
Count 7, and all these are involving the same date and location, Sunday, November 21st, 2021, on Main Street in the city of Waukesha, Waukesha County, Wisconsin. Count 7 has a victim listed as victim G. Count 8, victim H. Count 9, victim I. Count 10, victim J. Count 11, victim K. Count 12, victim L. Count 13, victim M. Count 14, victim N. Count 15, victim O. Count 16, victim P. Count 17, victim Q. Count 18, victim R. Count 19, victim S.
Victim
Count 20,
R.
victim T. Count 21, victim U. Count 22,
You're gonna go to double
victim
A's.
V. Count 23, victim W. Count 24, victim X.
If you get to 26 and you're not at Z, do you reevaluate your life choices? What do you do?
Count 25, victim Y. Count 26, victim Z. Count 27, victim double A. Count 28, victim double B. Count 29, victim double C. Count 30, victim double D.
They're gonna have to go to
Count
AAA
31,
on this one.
victim EE. Count 32, victim FF. Count 33, victim GG. Count 34, victim HH. Count 35, victim II. Count 36, victim JJ.
This is so
Count
tedious.
37, victim KK. Count 38, victim LL. Count 39, victim MM. Count 40, victim NN. Count 41, victim OO. Count 42, victim PP. Count 43, victim QQ. Count 44, victim RR.
QQ,
Count
that's what long
45,
crime
victim
is doing.
SS. Count 46, victim TT. Count 47, victim UU. Count 48, victim VV.
Oh no, I don't think we're gonna get to triple K. I don't think it's gonna go that high. I think we're gonna be stuck at triple F.
Count 49, victim WW. Count 50, victim XX. Count 51, victim YY. Count 52, victim ZZ. Count 53, victim AAA.
Wait, we
Count
might.
54, victim
We might.
BBB.
It'll be the
Count
last one,
55,
won't it?
victim CCC. Count 56, victim DDD. Count 57, victim EEE. Count 58, victim FFF.
Oh no.
Count 59,
H.
victim GGG. Count 60, victim HHH. Count 61, victim III.
Oh no.
Count 62, victim JJJ. Count 63, victim KKK. Count 64, victim
no.
LLL. Count 65, victim MMM. Count 66, victim NNN.
I forgot there was
Lastly,
67.
count 67, victim OOO. All of those, sir, again, charge you with first-degree reckless endangering safety, use of a
Victim,
dangerous weapon, support you
ooh.
know who the alleged victims are in each
Not
of those
good.
matters. Each of those matters, again, carry with them individually a maximum possible penalty of a fine of not more than $25,000, imprisonment for not more than 12 years and 6 months or both. And again, because of the penalty enhancer for use of a dangerous weapon, that may be increased on each count by not more than 5 years. And again, all of those are regarding Sunday, November 21st, 2021 on Main Street in the city of Waukesha, Waukesha County, Wisconsin.
Just 17 years apiece for 67 counts.
Then turning to counts 68 through 73. Count 68 through 73 individually charges you with hit and run resulting in death. Each of those counts carry with them the same maximum possible penalty. That is, for each individual count, a fine of not more than $100,000, imprisonment for not more than 25 years or both. And there's a revocation of your driving privileges if you should happen to be found guilty of any one of those.
A revocation of driving privileges while he's in prison for 25 years. Oh, well, you can't drive though.
Counts. Each of those counts reference an incident that occurred Sunday, November 21st, 2021 on Main Street in the city of Waukesha, Waukesha County, Wisconsin. Count number 68 has victim A, count number 69, victim B, count 70, victim C,
I don't think this is a good setup. You have 2 victim A's now. You should have victim by number for the deceased.
Count 71, victim D. Count 72, victim E. Count 73, victim F. Again, all of those are individually charged. That is the maximum possible penalty for each of those. Counts 74 and 75 charge you with felony bail jumping. And that is, again, referencing November 21st, 2021 on Main Street in the city of Milwaukee, Waukesha County, Wisconsin. Each of those charges carry with them the same maximum possible penalty. That is a fine of not more than $10,000, imprisonment for not more than 6 years or both. Then we run into 2 misdemeanors. I will advise you, sir, that on any felony, you have the right to a preliminary hearing. Of course, you have the right to counsel. Counts number 76 and 77 charge you with misdemeanor battery, domestic abuse assessment attaching. Count number 76 references an incident that allegedly occurred on Sunday, November 21st, 2021 at Freeman Park in the city of Waukesha, Waukesha County, Wisconsin. It's alleged that you caused bodily harm to victim PPP.
No.
That is a matter that carries with it a maximum possible penalty.
He was driving in Canada?
$10,000 imprisonment for not more than 9 months or both. Count number 77 references an incident that occurred on November 20th, 2021 at Frame Park in the city of Waukesha, Waukesha County, Wisconsin, where allegedly you caused bodily harm to victim PPP. Again, that carries with it a maximum possible penalty of a fine of not more than $10,000, imprisonment for not more than 9 months or both.
I'll have to check on
reviewed a
concurrent
copy of
versus
that
consecutive.
criminal complaint, the second amended criminal complaint. I will find that probable cause is stated to each of the charges that have been reviewed today. Counts, I already found probable cause on counts 1 through 5, but for the purposes of today's proceedings, I am finding probable cause on the second amended criminal complaint as to each of the counts 1 through 77 of the criminal complaint. And so are we prepared to proceed to a preliminary hearing, Ms. Keys?
We are.
Okay, thank you.
Real quick, Me Be Pirate says, would you rather be victim QQ, PP, KKK, or OOO? Discuss. I'll take OOO. Let's see. We'll put it to a poll. Would you rather be labeled as, because no one wants to actually be a victim. This is a tragedy. It really is. Well, an atrocity. Before anybody, gets on my case about it, I deal with uncomfortable and awful things with levity and jokes and laughing. There's no disrespect meant to any victim or the situation or anything like that. Look, some things in this world are really dark and really awful. And there's some really bad people out there. And sometimes to deal with that, you just got to try and laugh through it a little bit. Otherwise, you get too depressed, too mad, too pissed off, and you think that the world is irredeemable. And it may be, but we're living in it, no matter if it's redeemable or not. So I try and live in it in jest and levity. If that bothers you, you are free to go watch The Soulless People in Law and Crime. Oh wait, no, you're not. They took it down.
So if we would, one of the, we'll address, please don't let me forget, the second amended victim witness identification key, along with any modifications to bail that need to address that or any other items that we may take up.
At the Whiskey says, let's start to mock Darrell Brooks as well then. Mock him all you want. He's a shitty rap music making domestic abuser. The problem is, like, how do you mock someone that's just flatly terrible? The guy's a fucking monster. He drove over a parade of children and grandparents. Fuck him. Hope he gets killed in prison. Willie says, hey, Nick, big fan. Did you see Edgecombe's lead lawyer, B. Ivory Lamar, went on CNN after Rittenhouse's trial to decry the verdict? He seems more activist than lawyer. Might explain the defense's performance at pretrial. He did sound pretty much terrible. And O. Schmidt says, imagine if he gets convicted on all counts except count 63. What was count? Oh, the KKK one. Yeah, like I don't know. I don't actually know how to mock a monster. Monsters are just monsters, and no one's mocking the victims. Mocking the labeling of victim. I wouldn't want to be victim KKK. I'm just saying. I wouldn't want to be labeled that. That's rude.
But why don't we proceed to the preliminary hearing? So if the state wishes to call their first witness,
Yes, Commissioner, thank you. The state calls Detective Tom Casey.
Your Honor, the defense is also requesting sequestration of any other state witnesses.
thank you. Attorney Opper, are you anticipating calling any other witness?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
You swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. Detective, if you could have a seat, state your first and last name, spell it for the record, and then Attorney Opper could take it from there.
Thomas Casey, Casey.
And how are you employed, sir?
As a detective for the City of Waukesha Police Department,
How long have you worked in law enforcement?
over 24 years.
I'd like to direct your attention to the date of November 21, 2021. Were you on duty that afternoon, sir?
Yes, I was.
And what was your assignment?
Traffic control position for the Waukesha Christmas Parade.
And as a traffic control officer, how were you dressed?
I was wearing a police jacket that had Waukesha Police on each shoulder. I also had a knit cap on that said police on the front of it. And I had a traffic safety vest on that said police on the front and rear of the vest.
Okay, so you would consider yourself in uniform that day.
Yes, I was.
And the parade takes place where, sir?
The staging area is between Baxter Street and East Main on White Rock Avenue. The start is on White Rock and Main Street, and it continues down westbound on Main Street into West Avenue, and then it turns eastbound on Wisconsin Avenue and ends at Cutler Park.
All of these locations you're describing are in the city of Waukesha, county of Waukesha, state of Wisconsin?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And you said that you were assigned traffic control. What does that mean?
I was assigned to keep vehicular traffic out of the area and just allow the people that were in the parade to traverse on the roadway.
I assume there's multiple police officers assigned to traffic control.
Yes, there were.
Do you know about how many officers were working this parade?
There were officers, reserve officers, and some community police officers that were assigned. I would estimate about 30.
All in uniform of some degree?
Yes.
About how many units or groups were participating in the parade?
There's approximately 100 groups, with each group containing multiple participants.
Okay. And how about spectators? About how many spectators attend this event?
We've got Gates of Above says, why wasn't one of the persons labeled ooh woo? Come on. All of these people, by the way, sound like the quartering to me in my head. I don't know if Kurt died off camera. I don't know what happened to him. Why is there no judge and a commissioner instead? Because it's a preliminary hearing. And this, I don't know if this is just how they do it. Oh, hey, welcome back.
Sorry, I had to disappear there. I had a day job issue I had to take care of.
No worries. No worries. People were just asking, what happened? Did he die?
Day job issue I
would
had to
estimate
take care
there
of.
was thousands of people there to watch the parade.
Okay. The total,
Would you want to be labeled victim KKK?
Did they give someone a label KKK?
They did.
I was surprised because I was listening to them as they were going through the letters. I was listening to the doubles. Didn't get past that, and I was surprised. I was like, are they going to do that or not? They actually did do KKK.
They did.
That's interesting.
All right, here we go.
length of the parade that you described from basically the beginning at White Rock down to West Avenue, what's that approximate distance?
About 9/10 of a mile.
Okay. And aside from the beginning and the end, the majority of the parade goes down Main Street, correct?
Correct.
And that's an area that contains multiple businesses,
Yes.
and safe to assume spectators were lined up on the side of the street, on both sides of the street,
Yes.
as you would typically see at a parade, people sitting on blankets or standing and lining the streets to watch the parade.
Correct.
Okay. aside from the police officers and the reserve officers who were present to assist with traffic control, was there any barricades or signs that were used to notify
Signs.
motorists
Oh, the
as to
Wisconsin
the
is thick.
closing of the road?
Yes, all the intersections had squad cars and barricades that were blocking off the streets so vehicles could not drive down them.
Okay. And
Well, I mean,
do you
clearly a
recall what
vehicle
time the
could
parade
drive down
started?
them.
4 p.m.,
What time did you close the road, the street?
3:30 p.m.
Okay. So after 3:30, no one was allowed, no vehicular traffic was allowed down Main Street, correct?
Correct. Actually, it was a little bit earlier. I'd say it was about 3:15 when we closed off the parade route. Initially, the area that I was assigned to on White Rock Avenue, we closed that down at 1 p.m. because that was the staging area for the parade. So between Baxter Street and Main Street, there was no cars allowed on there after 1 p.m.
Okay.
And then the rest of the route, a little after 3 p.m., they started to close down and not allow traffic on there.
Okay. Now I want to direct your attention to the time of approximately 4:35 p.m. that day. What happened at that time?
I overheard on the radio that squads were dispatched to the area of Frame Park for a reported fight that involved somebody with a knife.
Okay. Did you respond to that?
I did not.
You maintained your post
Yes, I did.
and continued to direct traffic.
Yes.
At some point, did you observe a vehicle that drew your attention?
Who's the girl
Yes, I
reflected in the
did.
glass?
What kind of vehicle was it?
It was
I
a
have
red
no
Ford
idea.
Escape.
Sounds like a book title.
And that's,
That
what
can
was it
be,
about the vehicle?
could
that
be a
drew your
book you write,
attention to
Kurt.
it?
Who's the girl reflected
Well,
in the glass?
first of all, the parade route was closed down. There was no vehicles allowed on the parade route. But initially I heard a horn beeping from the area north of my location, and that's what my initial focus was drawn to.
Okay. And from the best of your knowledge, was it that red Ford Escape that was honking its horn?
Yes, it was.
Okay. You were able to visually observe the vehicle at that point?
Yes, I was. I started walking towards the center of the road when I heard the horn. So I was actually in the center of the roadway in between parade participants when the vehicle first appeared out of the parade participants.
Okay. So as you've just described, the parade's underway, correct?
Yes, it is. It had already started and some of the parade had actually finished already at that point.
Okay. And there's multiple units traversing in the roadway to participate in the parade?
Yes.
Okay. When you saw the SUV, what did you do?
I first stepped in front of the SUV, put my hands up and was yelling for the vehicle to stop.
Okay. Did the vehicle stop?
It did not.
Were you positioned directly in front of the vehicle?
Yes, I was.
And what happened?
The vehicle continued driving into me. I'd say it was a slow speed at that point. Eventually, the vehicle made contact with me, and I was pounding on the hood, yelling for it to stop, which it did not.
Could you see anybody inside the vehicle?
At that point, I could not see the person real clearly, but as the vehicle continued pushing through me, I was, my position changed to the side of the vehicle where I was directly outside the driver's side window, and I could see inside of the window and I could see the driver very clearly.
Were there any other occupants in the vehicle at that time?
I did not see any.
Okay. And the driver of that vehicle, do you see that person present in the courtroom here today?
Yes, I do.
Could you identify him, please?
He is sitting at the defense table dressed all in red.
You know the name of that person?
Darrell Brooks.
And
Anna Laura Gladius asks why she's questioning the cop, because even though like everybody knows that this is the guy who did it, they have to put it on the record that this is the guy who's accused of doing this. Someone is able to identify, as we just saw, right? One, how would the cop who's on the stand know all of this? Well, he's a detective, he's a police officer, he was assigned there that day, he's a witness to the events. Here's where he was when all of this went down. Here's what he saw. Now, who did you see? I saw that guy. That's the guy who did it. If they can't do this part, if they can't lay out why they think this guy needs to be charged, then he wins. Then he would go home. Now, obviously there's not always a witness to the specific event like we have here, but there's always some reasoning given as to how they believe the person who has done the crime. This is it's probable cause. They have to show that they have sufficient cause to bring the charges. That's what this hearing is all about. So that's a good question. Sometimes I forget that people don't always know the procedure aspects of this and why they exist. Great US says, Ahura Mazda, oh wise Lord, law of order, all goodness, love, and wise help me now that I think I'm going insane, as Nick seems to be live during the day. Also, may Angra Manu torment Nick for not reading any of yesterday afternoon's tips from Odyssey. Amen. Yes, sorry. I read many of them, but it messed up. Phantom Hive says, if one of these officers had taken out their gun and shot Darrell dead before he could run over people, we'd be in the preliminary hearing for said officer. It's unreal to think about. That's actually an interesting concept.
It's possible.
Yeah. Well, we saw with the Kem Potter trial, which
Yeah,
is
maybe.
a different, it's a different state, but there's a line of thought out there that an officer shooting or incapacitating someone in charge of a vehicle would be liable criminally for what happens to that person and potentially to other people who might be injured by it. And it's one of these weird conundrums that we run into in law enforcement trials. Same with Derek Chauvin. I mean, some people had said very early on in the Chauvin trial, well, if anyone in the crowd had just run up and Spartan kicked Chauvin off of George Floyd, then he'd still be alive. And it's like, yeah, but that person would be charged with assaulting a police officer. And because Floyd would not have died, there wouldn't have been justification for assaulting the police officer. Because you probably wouldn't think that a guy just pinned to the ground was going to die. And certainly you wouldn't know that Chauvin was going to kneel on him for that long, and that it was going to play out that way. So you get into this area where had someone acted, you would have gotten a different result, but that different result would have resulted in criminality for them. And so, yeah, it's very possible. Mo says this wouldn't happen if grenade launchers and RPGs were legal. P.S. Why does it say, please keep hands out of pockets on the paper? Oh, that's interesting. Probably because I would imagine they're worried about a couple different things. Cell phones and recording devices that are not allowed in the courtroom other than the approved cell phones or the approved recording devices from the news networks that have made motions and gotten approval for it. And then the other would be hands in pockets could be a weapon of some sort, something like that going on, that they would just not want to deal with stuff like that as as much as possible. Just some extra precaution is my thought. But I think I would actually say the first one more than the last one. That they'd be more concerned about the recording devices because they probably have searched people with a metal detector before coming into court. Although not all courthouses do that, but this one I'm guessing does. So anyway, next.
You positively identify Mr. Brooks as the driver of the vehicle at this point.
Yes, I do.
Okay. As he drove past you in the vehicle, did you make any further effort to stop the vehicle?
I pounded on the driver's side of the window and continued to yell at the person to stop.
Did the vehicle stop?
It did not.
Were there parade participants in the street at this time?
Yes, there were.
Okay. Where did you see the vehicle go?
The vehicle continued westbound on Main Street.
And could you see any activity involving the truck at that point?
Yes, initially I began chasing after the vehicle to try to get it to stop. And as I was following behind the vehicle, I could see it was on the north side of the roadway, at times beeping its horn. Eventually its speed increased where I could not keep up with it. And then it continued further west on Main Street.
So you were chasing the vehicle on foot?
Yes.
Okay. Trying to run behind it and catch up?
Correct.
Okay.
Has that ever worked, officer?
Did you see the vehicle actually strike any persons
I'm
at
sure.
that point?
Not in person.
Okay. At some point, did you lose visual contact with the vehicle?
Yes, I did.
And about what area was that?
Probably just past Barstow Street.
Okay. Do you know if there were other officers along the route that took any effort to stop the vehicle?
Multiple officers.
Had you alerted the other officers to what was happening?
Yes, I broadcast on the radio that a vehicle had entered the parade route, specifically a Ford Escape, and that we needed
What?
squads and
There was
emergency
a
response to
loud
try to
buzz
stop
that
it.
came through?
Okay.
I heard it.
Are you aware of
did?
other officers attempting to stop the
weird.
vehicle?
I didn't.
Further west on Main Street.
Yes, I am.
Did the vehicle stop for those officers?
It did not.
Those officers were in full police uniform?
Yes,
Are you specifically aware of Officer Butrin also essentially standing in front of the vehicle and putting his arms up and telling the driver to stop?
yes,
Did the driver stop for Officer Butrin?
he did not.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I
At
have no
this
idea where that came
point,
from.
You personally did not observe any further conduct with the vehicle once it got out of your sight, correct?
Correct.
But subsequently, you were assigned as the lead investigator in this case, is that correct?
Yes, it was.
And in that capacity, have you witnessed multiple video recordings of the activity involving the SUV driven by Mr. Brooks as it proceeded down Main Street?
Yes, I have.
About how many videos were recovered by the police department?
We have 65 different files, each containing multiple videos.
And what were the sources of these videos?
Citizens, businesses, some city cameras that we have.
Okay. And did the recordings capture the path of travel for the SUV throughout the length of Main Street?
Yes, it did.
Okay. And on those, have you observed those video recordings, sir?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Do you believe they were true and accurate depictions of what happened that afternoon?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And in addition to the videos, multiple law enforcement officers have attempted to interview many victims and witnesses who were present that day, correct?
Correct.
Is the information in the recordings consistent with the information you obtained from these citizen witnesses and victims?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Tell us what you saw on the videos as the SUV traveled down Main Street, please.
Guys, videos are awful,
Initially,
by
as
the
the
way.
vehicle is traveling on Main Street, I would say between White Rock and Barstow Street, the vehicle stays on the north side of the roadway. As it's driving, it's beeping its horn, slowing down. Once it crosses Barstow Street, the vehicle continues driving at a faster speed. It increases its speed, and it begins to do a zigzagging motion through the crowd. At some point,
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify. When you say crowd, are you talking about the participants in the middle of the street or the spectators on the side of the road?
the participants in the parade.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
As it's between Barstow and Broadway, the vehicle zigzagging through the crowd, hitting people, running people over. And then as it approaches Clinton Street, the vehicle increases its speed even more. The vehicle is zigzagging through the crowd where there's no vehicles, and it appears that the vehicle's intentionally aiming for people. At one point in the video, you can see the vehicle running over people. At one point, there's someone on the hood of the car where the vehicle jams on its brakes, appears to have the person come off the hood of the car, and then continues driving and drives over that person. As it gets to the 400 block, it hits another group of people and then continues driving westbound.
Okay.
No, I see this pop up a couple times. No, there's no jury paneled yet. This is a preliminary hearing. This is not the trial. This is pre-trial. This is way pre-trial. This guy's trial is probably not going to be for several months, even a year plus on this one. Is very possible. If they invoke their right to a speedy trial, they'll have to have it within the next like 3 months or so. Technically it's supposed to be 60 days, but there's some flexibility on that. But no, the trial's a long way away. The jury has not been even contemplated at this point.
That's right.
So no, they get a little leeway. Like one of the things he said just a second ago was it appeared that the vehicle was intending to run people over. That might not fly at trial because that would be improper speculation.
Yeah, and I don't know the rules in this state, but sometimes the evidentiary rules change for preliminary hearings or other preliminary processes. Um, Depending on the state, hearsay or other things that might be excluded at trial can be admissible at some preliminary stages, depending on a bunch of factors. So, again, that it's a state specific thing, but the rules might be modified. So,
Yeah.
FYI.
Because a lot of the rules in court on a criminal trial are designed to keep the jury from being prejudiced against the defendant. Here, there's no jury. They're talking about legal matters, laying the legal foundation. It really doesn't matter if anyone in the courtroom thinks this guy is a dirtbag or was making some intent. I mean, the question is this a person of these events in question? So here we go.
In total, about how many people did the Waukesha Police Department identify as having been directly struck by the vehicle as it drove down the roadway?
We're at about 61 at this point.
Okay. Did some of those people receive fatal injuries?
6 of the people received fatal injuries.
Of the people that did not lose their life, what was the degree of injury suffered by them? Did it vary?
From some people have, I'd say, road rash, swelling muscles. So there's some people that have skull fractures, internal injuries, and fractures, multiple fractures.
I just want to briefly go through the various units that were involved in the parade here. It's my understanding that the investigation has shown the first person that was struck was participating with the REMAX Services First Group. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that person was in about the 200 block of Main Street.
That is correct.
Was that person directly struck by the vehicle
Yes, she was.
and injured?
Yes.
And that occurred as she was marching in the middle of the street?
Yes.
The vehicle then encountered the Waukesha South Band.
Yes.
Tell us what you remember about the videos showing the contact with the Waukesha South Band.
The vehicle suddenly swerves to the left, and at that point, it first hits the drum player and continues, and I would say it hits approximately 10 people and runs directly over the top of them, and then turns to the right and starts hitting other people in the parade route.
Okay. Some spectators were injured in this area as well?
Correct.
Okay. These Waukesha South Band members, they would all be teenagers or high school aged kids?
Yes.
And were all 10 people injured to your knowledge?
Yes, they were.
Some of them suffering great bodily harm?
Yes.
And all of them were directly in the roadway at the time of this?
Yes.
Burris Logistics Group was the next unit, is that correct?
Yes.
And was anybody participating in that group injured?
Yes, 2 people, a mother and daughter.
Okay. They were both directly struck by Mr. Brooks' vehicle?
Yes, they were.
Okay. I believe the Blazers baseball team was then encountered in the area of 264 West Main Street. Does that sound right, sir?
Correct.
And tell us what happened with the Blazers baseball team, please.
The vehicle started to pass on the left. Initially, it made contact with a young child and adult that were pushed between a pickup truck and eventually thrown ahead and hit multiple other participants that were in the center of the roadway.
Okay. Were any members of the Blazers baseball team injured as a result of Mr. Brooks striking them with his vehicle?
Yes, they were.
About how many?
I believe it was 10.
And were there any fatalities associated with the Blazers baseball team?
Yes, there was one.
And that was victim F?
Correct.
And what was the cause of death determined for victim F?
Cranial cerebral traumatic injuries.
The vehicle then encountered the Waukesha Extreme Dance Team, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's in an area known...
Okay, another weird thing I see popping up in the chat. They were struck by the vehicle. That's not that's not them covering for this monster. He was driving the vehicle, but they weren't struck by him. They can't testify to facts that don't exist. He's not like, I mean, I guess maybe he's got his arm out punching people as he goes by, like a modern mounted combat or something. But the reality is the people were struck by the vehicle. They'll establish clearly that they've already established that he was driving the vehicle. It's not like they're trying to obscure that. Not everything has a political motive of shielding this guy. Remember, they are prosecuting him in this way, but they, the fact is that they're struck by the vehicle. That's and at trial they'll have to prove that he was the driver of the vehicle at the time that it was striking the people. But that doesn't like negate or mitigate his guilt or anything like that. So calm down.
I don't understand this. The facts are what they are, and they have to prove the facts as they exist. So what is the chat's concern here exactly?
Now, I don't know. I've just seen it a couple times where people are talking about, oh, the vehicle did this or whatever. Now, in the news reports, it's a different story. Yes,
Yeah,
the news reports
were
talking
stuff
about an SUV running into a crowd we had a stream where we talked about this, where the news reports are different, but we're in court now, and in court you have to report or you have to testify to facts that are true. Theoretically, and in this case, the vehicle is the thing that did the striking. It was the weapon. The same thing is if someone shot someone, it would be the bullet struck so and so.
Right,
and then they
you
would
can only testify to what you know. So, I mean,
Right.
just if you want to be precise in your language, which is always good when you're testifying under oath, to be as precise as possible. So even if you saw him driving the vehicle at some point, even immediately prior, when they actually struck him, if you can't actually see him behind the wheel, it's like, well, who was behind the wheel at that point? You don't know for sure. I mean, you can make a pretty damn reasonable guess, and so can the jury, but you can only testify to what you know. So I saw the vehicle strike this person. That's what you saw. Calm down.
Yeah. And typically in court, how they would talk about a gunshot, because I see that coming up, is he fired the weapon and then the bullet struck the victim.
Right.
The bullet struck the person. He threw the rock struck the person. So that's how it goes. And they did establish already that this guy believes that guy was driving. He saw him get out of the car, after the incident. So that's where it is. But again, I know there's some charged issues with this and how the news has dealt with it so far. I haven't seen any reason, especially with 77 criminal counts.
I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Yeah, to suggest
we all know how it ends. We all know how the story ends.
At this point, it doesn't look like these prosecutors are pulling any punches or anything like that. Now, of course, if that changes as we go on, we'll see that.
Known to us as the 5 Points area of downtown Waukesha, correct?
The 5 Points.
And that's what roadways are in that area, sir?
Where's Bill the
That's
Butcher?
where Broadway and Main Street cross. Also, Grand Avenue starts heading south.
Okay. Were any members of the extreme dance team struck directly by Mr. Brooks' vehicle?
Yes, they were.
And were they injured?
Even more extreme
Yes,
now.
they were.
And
I was just trying to
they
help.
were struck as they walked down the middle of the street, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. At any point in this process that we've described
you
it
can
so
dodge a
far,
car,
does
you
Mr.
can
Brooks
dodge a
stop
ball.
his vehicle and check on any of these victims?
He does not.
There's about 15 children with the extreme dance team that were injured, is that correct?
Yes.
Struck and injured. The vehicle then continues and encounters the group for Citizens Bank, is that correct?
Correct.
And that's in the same area, about the 300 block or just west of the 5 Points area?
Correct.
Was anyone from the Citizens Bank injured?
Yes, there was.
And was that a fatal injury?
Yes, it was.
That would be to victim D?
Correct.
What was the cause of death for victim D determined to be?
Is there a particular reason they're
multiple
using
blunt
letters
force
at this point?
traumatic
Is it because they're minors?
Okay.
I don't know.
The vehicle then continues on and
Possibly.
encounters the group known as the Milwaukee Dancing Grannies.
Yes.
And
I don't
that
know if they're
occurs
minors.
also in the 300 block of West Main Street.
Correct.
Probably just
Did you
quicker
see video recording of the vehicle striking
this
the
point.
dancing grannies?
Yes, I did.
What did you see?
The first granny was hit squarely in the center of the car. She was in the middle of the roadway. The vehicle continued driving. It initially was on the north side of the roadway. It then went to the south side of the roadway and came back to the north side of the roadway. There was no cars in the roadway at that time. It hit multiple people.
When you say cars on the roadway, and I think you had mentioned earlier, like a pickup truck or something, you're talking about cars that were accompanying the parade units, correct?
Correct.
Okay. How many people from the Dancing Grannies unit were killed as a result of Mr. Brooks striking them directly with his vehicle?
4.
And there were
See?
3 other individuals that were injured as a result of this?
Correct.
And cause of death for the 4 individuals participating with the Dancing Grannies was?
Multiple blunt force traumatic injury.
Did the vehicle stop at that point after striking the Dancing Grannies?
It did not.
What happened after the vehicle, Mr. Brooks, cleared the Dancing Grannies?
At one point, you can see the vehicle suddenly slow down, appeared to get somebody off the windshield of the car. There's one citizen witness that said that Mr. Brooks was actually had his head out the window, trying to see around the other people as he was driving.
Was there a gap in the parade at that point?
Yes, there was.
Can you just briefly describe that, please?
It was maybe 100 feet. Sometimes the parade, some groups go a little bit slower or faster than others. After the Dancing Grannies, there's a street to the left
Dancing grannies.
that he could have exited on. And then
Four of
there was
four
a
of
number
them killed.
groups that were up about 100 feet.
Okay. And they were in the 400 block of
They
West
died doing
Main
what they
Street?
love.
Correct.
Did he then encounter the group known as the Catholic Community of Waukesha?
Yes, he did.
And that was a larger group, correct?
Yes, it was.
Did Mr. Brooks strike several members of that group with his vehicle?
Yes, he did.
A total of about 19 people injured with the Catholic community?
Yes.
Okay. And they were all in the roadway?
Yes, they were.
Aside from the people in the roadway marching in the parade, there were some spectators that were injured in the area of 5 Points, is that correct?
Yes, there were.
And also some others that have been injured west of that, near the area where the Dancing Grannies were struck, correct?
Correct.
Real quick, do you think the defense is going to try like well, he didn't mean to do it, lost control of the vehicle or something crazy defense? Like he just lost control, drove past the police barricade and ran over a bunch of kids and grandmas.
I mean, I can't think of much better that you have to work with if you're trying to find avenues for the defense. You
Yeah.
didn't mean to do it. Sure, give that a shot. When you keep going and keep striking people, you'd think there'd be a clue.
When you stop to let someone fall off the hood so you can run them over, that's
Yeah, that's not helpful to that theory.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like what they're gonna try, because I mean, we've talked about this in a couple places. I don't think he's getting a plea deal for much reduced sentence at this
No,
point.
of course he's not.
So you make the court go through the motions because maybe you find some technical issue that you can get, or you get some mistrial, or you just get a jury nullification because somehow you get like the entire new Black Panther party on the jury or something. Wow, this jury pool's amazing. But yeah. Squizgar says this is racial profiling. I have it on good authority. They arrested every black man driving through that particular crowd.
Yeah,
I think so.
they're stopping everyone who was driving on that particular sidewalk, to use the original joke. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a interesting. I don't know what the exact law is in Wisconsin about consecutive versus concurrent sentencing. I would think this might be consecutive sentencing.
I would think if there's any possibility for that, yeah, the judge is going to put it to the wall.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, we all know how it ends. We all know
because
he's guilty.
You
and the
have
judge is putting it to the
multiple.
wall.
Yeah, you have multiple victims and 25 years. I mean, this guy needs to go to prison forever because it's Wisconsin. They can't just kill him. Although he's not charged with anything that would be a capital crime, I don't think, in other states.
Well, yeah, I mean, with multiple intentional deaths usually gets you there in many states.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and because in Texas, if you have 2 murders, it upgrades to capital murder, I think, or murder and another felony.
I thought it was if
or
you
at least
stole
it
a
used-
sticker bar, you got capital charges in Texas.
Could be. Only if you run away with the sticker and they shoot you in the back. Here we go.
After Mr. Brooks went through the Catholic community group, did the video show where he went from there?
Yes, at that point, the roadway curves southbound for a short time until Wisconsin Avenue, and he turned left at that point.
Okay, so he stays on the parade route,
Correct.
and does he encounter an officer in this area of West Avenue?
Yes, he did.
What happened there?
One of our officers saw the vehicle coming at him. This officer was staying directly in the roadway. The vehicle was driving directly at him and forced that officer to discharge his service weapon.
He fired at Mr. Brooks' vehicle?
Yes, he did.
Did he strike the vehicle?
3 times.
Did the vehicle stop?
Did not.
Where did the vehicle go?
Continued southbound. At that point, the roadway turns into West Avenue. He continued for a block and then turned left onto Prospect Avenue.
And were you later able to trace the path of travel for the vehicle after it left the parade route?
Yes, we were.
Where did it go?
The vehicle pulled into a driveway and then through a backyard and ended up at 338 Maple Avenue.
What happened there?
Mr. Brooks got out of the vehicle and began running southbound.
So he abandons the vehicle
Yes,
and now he's on foot.
correct.
Were you able to determine where he went?
He went to multiple different locations. Eventually, he was taken in custody at 553 Elizabeth Street.
Okay. At any point did Mr. Brooks return to the parade route to check on any of these victims that had been struck?
Never.
At in viewing the video, were there occasions where you observed the vehicle increase its speed along the parade route?
Yes, there was.
Okay. And that was at a time when there were multiple people in the road, correct?
Correct.
Fair to say that from the video that most of the parade participants, because Mr. Brooks was coming up from behind them, were not aware of what was going on.
That is correct.
And it appeared from the video that most of them were struck
See, in
without
trial,
even
you would object
knowing he
speculation.
was
You can't know what they
approaching
were
them
or were
with
not
his
aware of.
car.
Correct.
Yeah.
In a preliminary hearing, though, it's like, eh.
Just one last matter.
Did you see the car rhyme into the people?
Mr.
Yes.
Detective Casey,
Do you know who's driving the car?
did
Yes.
we
Ooh,
make
that
any
guy.
effort
Great.
to
Moving on.
determine the functionality of
quick.
the vehicle after the incident had occurred?
Yes, we have.
What happened?
We had the Wisconsin State Patrol Mechanical Inspection Unit do an inspection on the vehicle while it was at the Wisconsin State Crime Lab.
And what was determined?
It was determined that there is nothing on the vehicle that was defective that would make the vehicle so it would not stop or accelerate. They found that a tie rod end had a little bit of extra play in it, and there was one mismatched tire. Other than that, they did not find anything mechanical wrong with the vehicle.
Okay. And are you aware of the fact that Mr. Brooks was pending on 2 open cases in Milwaukee County at the time of this incident?
Yes, I am.
Are you aware that he had been released on bail in those cases and had been ordered to not commit any further crimes?
Yes, I am.
All right. Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you, Attorney Keys.
Thank you, Your Honor. So Detective Casey, you indicated on direct examination that there were thousands of people in the area for the parade on that afternoon. Is that correct?
That is my estimate.
You said about 100 entries in the parade completely.
Correct.
about hundreds of participants were participating in the parade, actually walking down the street, correct?
Correct.
And then you said there were thousands of people then spectating in addition to all of the participants, correct?
That is my estimate.
Okay. Where are you
You
going with that line
indicated
of questioning?
also a little bit about the route description. So you stated that the staging area is up on White Rock Avenue, is that correct?
Correct.
And so White Rock was blocked off from some street all the way down through Maine, is that correct?
I believe that it was blocked off starting at Niagara, which is north of where White Rock School is, where he was initially in the fight with victim PPP.
Okay, and then the parade goes from White Rock onto Maine, is that correct?
Correct.
And then it continues turning onto Wisconsin Avenue once it gets to the end of that like corner of Main Street, correct?
Correct.
Now, you indicated that there were barricades and squad cars blocking off that street, correct?
What specific street are you talking
Blocking
about?
off Main Street so that the people can't get onto Main Street from the cross streets, correct?
So vehicles can't get on, correct?
Right. And so you indicated, you said the words, I think, squads and barricades, correct?
Correct.
So what does that mean exactly? Were there squad cars actually blocking the cross streets on Main Street?
At different locations, yes.
So was there a squad car at every single cross street?
There should have been, yes. It may not have been directly on the route. Sometimes they position them maybe a block up, so the vehicles can't get to the route, like the street that is like a block away. And then at the street itself, they would have plastic barricades that are about 10 feet long with white and orange on them.
Okay.
I don't know if he's handcuffed down to the floor or anything right now, but there's not an SUV in the courtroom, so I'm not sure how much danger anybody's in at this point in time.
Yeah, bring the SUV into the courtroom. That'd be good.
What if the SUV was in the audience as one of the victims?
He made me do it.
Bob Dorsey says, meant to do this during Rittenhouse. Thanks for the commentary. Need to get back on Friday Night Tights again. Yeah, anytime. Anytime I'm available. Love Friday Night Tights. Love hanging out with those guys. Very fun. Very fun show. I'm not sure what her line of questioning is doing here. I mean, what are you going to do? I guess, but they.
There was not necessarily a squad car blocking the cross street, but there was at least an orange and white barrier.
Correct.
And if someone had gone through the orange and white barrier, they would have then confronted a squad that was blocking another street. Is that fair to say?
More than likely, yes.
Now, you indicated that there were lots of spectators and that people were lining the sidewalks. Is that correct?
Yes.
Were there people who were sitting on the street, on the cross streets in front of the barricades as well?
At some of the places, yes.
So that if someone had turned from Main Street onto a cross street, they could have confronted people before getting to a barricade. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
Now, this is a parade, right? So it's loud. There's lots of activity and music and people talking. Is that fair to say?
That's fair to say.
So is
And
it
you were
possible you missed
describing
the other
before on direct
SUV that was also going
examination,
through the
that
crowd at the
there
same
were some
time?
gaps
Because of all the
between
noise? You
groups
missed that
of
one?
Participants, is that correct?
That is correct.
Did you see the other
So
SUV?
there's different groups of participants.
Did you discriminate
who are
against the
walking down
SUV
the
because it's
street,
black?
correct?
Correct.
And there's an amount of space between each group, correct?
I wouldn't necessarily say each group, but some groups, some are closer. Every once in a while, there's a group that's a little bit slower than the other group and it allows a space. So I wouldn't say every group, but some groups there are.
So there are spots where there's nobody walking, correct?
Correct.
And when there are those spots where there's nobody actually walking in the street, there are still spectators on the side of the street, perhaps on the sidewalk, sitting on the curb, things like that, correct?
Correct.
Now, you indicated that you first observed this red Ford Escape on White Rock Avenue, correct?
Correct.
So it was driving toward you as you were standing near the intersection of Main and White Rock, is that right?
Correct.
And then you indicated on direct examination that it had contact with you, correct?
Correct.
You didn't get run over, did you?
I did not.
Sorry.
You then observed that vehicle continue on through Main Street, and you described all of that. And then you indicated that it turned southbound onto, does it turn into west there? Or is that still Main
It's
Street?
Main Street for a very short time, and then south of Wisconsin Avenue, it's West Avenue.
Okay. And so the vehicle then did not continue onto Wisconsin Avenue to follow the parade route, correct?
Correct,
The vehicle continued southbound across Wisconsin Avenue, correct?
correct.
And then you indicated that it turned off onto a different street that I can't remember.
Prospect Avenue.
Prospect, thank you. So it did not continue then following the parade once it got to the end of Main Street, is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, in describing this red Ford Escape, was it an older model, a newer model?
2010.
2010, okay. And when you were having contact with this vehicle, did you notice that the windows were up or down?
I believe that they were all up.
So all the windows were closed on this Ford Escape, is that correct?
Correct.
So you could not see inside through an open window, is that correct? You would have been looking through the glass.
Correct.
The windows were not cracked open at all.
Not that I recall.
And when you were next to the vehicle, you could hear the engine noise, is that correct?
I mean, I don't recall hearing that. I mean, I don't know if it's because everything else that was going on that was excluded, but I don't really recall any noises. I was focused on the vehicle and the driver of the vehicle at that point.
Okay.
So you don't even know if the engine was on. Isn't that
Now,
right?
you indicated that both yourself and officer, is it Butrin or Buttrin?
Yes.
All right, Officer B
Okay, that was good, right? Is it Officer Butrin or Buttrin? Yes.
you and Officer B were head on with the vehicle, is that correct?
That is correct.
And you indicated, in fact, that you were eye to eye with the driver of the vehicle, is that correct?
Yes.
And you were right next to the window, and so was Officer Buttrin at a later date, is that correct?
It wasn't a later time. It was probably a few minutes later. I believe he was directly in front of the vehicle. I was in front of the vehicle and then off to its side.
Okay. And regarding the driver, as you saw the driver as it was going past you, he was wearing a gray sweatshirt, correct?
I know that later, but at that time, I was focused on his face. That's all that I saw. I did not see a sweatshirt. I know later that from looking at video and other things, that he was wearing a gray sweatshirt.
Okay. And so when you're looking at his face, you couldn't see his hair at all, correct?
I saw that he had dark hair and he had some facial hair.
Okay. But you couldn't see like the length of his hair, is that correct?
I personally did not see that.
Because it was covered up with a hood, is that correct?
I was just focused on his face. I mean, I was just zeroed in on his face. That's all that I was looking at. It happened very fast. I was very orientated on his face. I do not recall seeing that. It's probably because of things were happening very fast, and I wanted to remember his face, so I was focusing on that.
Okay. And so you indicated on direct examination that you actually stepped in front of the vehicle and pounded on the hood and
Yes.
yelled for the driver to stop, correct?
Yes.
And you did not end up underneath the vehicle, is that correct?
I did not. The vehicle was driving at a slow speed at that time, and I was able to step off to the side as it brushed me past.
And then you witnessed the vehicle driving for how long did you say? Until about Barstow?
That's how far I could see it. The vehicle started to pick up speed, and then it was getting too far away from me. And I decided it was best to go back to my squad car and get into there to try to pursue the vehicle further.
And then Officer Buttrin, you indicated, observed the vehicle as well.
Why did she go with Buttrin? Is Butrin or Buttrin? He says yes. She picks Buttrin. Come on.
Well, do you know how long Officer
I would
Buttrin was
too.
able to personally observe a vehicle drive?
I mean, it would have been a very short time. I mean, we estimate that the car was on the parade route approximately 3 to 4 minutes. So we're talking a very short amount of time for all this contact.
Now, you indicated on direct examination that you reviewed video where you were able to see the vehicle then continuing past where you personally observed the vehicle yourself, correct?
That is correct.
And during that time, you saw that the driver did not drive on any sidewalks, is that correct?
That is correct.
The vehicle did not strike any other vehicles, correct?
That is correct.
The vehicle did not try to make any other vehicles get knocked over or roll into other vehicles or parade participants or spectators, correct?
I did not see a knock over any other vehicles.
In fact, there were times when the vehicle almost struck spectators and other parade participants but didn't hit them, is that correct?
Could you ask the question again, please?
There was a time when the vehicle was driving in the open lane between the spectators on the sidewalk and the parade participants, correct?
Correct.
And at that time, the vehicle went around rather than striking a small child who was standing in the roadway, correct?
There are times that he avoided people, if that's what you're asking.
Now, as you were observing these videos that you obtained throughout the parade route, is there consistent video of the rear of the vehicle?
What do you mean by consistent?
Can you often see the rear of the vehicle in watching these videos, or are you looking more like down from up or toward the front of the vehicle?
I'd say it's a split between that, but you can see the vehicle, the rear of the vehicle multiple times.
How many times?
I would have to review the reports to know that.
Now, you indicated on direct examination that you observed in these videos each of the 6 people who suffered fatal injuries. Is that correct?
I'd show that the video show 5 of the 6 people being struck.
Okay. And so I guess let's start with on direct examination, Attorney Opper asked you about the first person who was struck, who was with the REMAX group, correct?
Correct.
And so that person was near the area of the 200 block of Main Street, is that correct?
Correct.
And where is that exactly? What's like a...
Between Barstow and Gasper Street.
Okay, thank you. And there were other people around that person there were other people in the vicinity of that single person who was struck and killed, correct?
Correct.
And not everybody who was in that vicinity died at that time, correct?
There's only 6 people that died out of hundreds.
Okay. On direct examination, you talked about the Blazers baseball team in the area of 264 West Main Street, correct?
Correct.
And you described that the Ford Escape was on one side of the road and then moved to the other side of the road, correct?
Correct.
In fact, the vehicle swerved around another truck that was in the parade, correct?
It went around a truck.
Okay. And on the...
Yeah, don't know what's up with Kurt's audio, guys. It got something got crazy. Again, StreamYard is fucking wild with audio. I have no idea what happened, but he dipped out. He didn't want to be have all the fucking volume coming through. So I'm currently, by the way, on the market for alternative software to StreamYard that does something comparable. This fucking audio on this is trash.
The left side of that truck was where the parade participants were walking, correct?
There were parade participants on both sides of the truck, but the one that was struck and killed was on the left-hand side of the truck.
Okay, and it was relatively close to the truck, is that correct?
Correct.
You talked about the group of participants in the parade with the Catholic community of Waukesha, correct?
Correct.
And in your direct examination, you indicated that that was a large group of people participating in the parade, correct?
Correct.
And you said that there were about 19 people who were injured as part of that group, correct?
Correct.
None of those people died, correct?
That is correct.
Is her theory that not everybody died though? Like he maybe could have killed more people.
Ultimately, the driver of the vehicle was arrested, you said, at somewhere on Elizabeth
You
Street.
talking about Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Yes.
You identified him as Darrell Brooks, correct?
Correct.
And was it you who took him into custody or a different officer?
Other officers.
He spent then a period of time with officers after being arrested, correct?
Correct.
And at that point, one of the officers who spent time with him reported an odor of marijuana about his person, correct?
Correct.
In fact, that officer reported that Mr. Brooks had red, bloodshot, glassy eyes, correct?
Correct.
And he could smell an odor of burnt marijuana on him, correct?
Correct.
And then one of the officers, or a couple of the officers, I think, attempted to interrogate Mr. Brooks. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That was not you, though, correct?
That is correct.
You reviewed reports of those other law enforcement officers who spoke with Mr. Brooks, correct? And those detectives showed Mr. Brooks photos and videos of this incident occurring. Is that correct?
Correct.
While those officers were showing Mr. Brooks photos and videos, he did not want to look at them. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say.
In fact, he would put his head down, correct?
Correct.
He'd turn his head away from the photos and the videos. Is that correct?
Correct.
And at one point, he even begged the law enforcement officer to stop showing them to him, correct?
I believe so.
And lastly, Mr. Brooks indicated to one of the detectives that, quote, "I didn't mean to kill nobody," end quote. Is that correct?
I believe that's a quote.
I have nothing
He's
further.
not charged with
Any
intentional
offer or any
homicide.
redirect?
Just a couple quick follow-up. Detective Casey, on cross-examination, you were asked about, basically, I'm going to summarize what I understood the cross-examination to be. You were asked about scenarios where it was implied that Mr. Brooks couldn't leave the parade route because it was blocked up and down both sides of the street by people at all times, or squads or something like that, correct?
Correct.
In fact, Mr. Brooks could have just simply stopped the car to avoid striking anybody or any object,
Oh,
correct?
come on.
Correct.
I've frankly never heard of
You were
stopping a
also asked
vehicle.
about the fact that you personally were not run over or killed by Mr. Brooks' vehicle, correct?
That's correct.
In fact, you had the benefit of facing the vehicle head-on, seeing it coming, and being able to react, correct?
Correct.
The other parade participants that were struck by Mr. Brooks did not have that same vantage point, did they?
That is correct. Speed is also important. That when I saw him, he was doing maybe 5 miles an hour. When he was at the west end of the route, he was maybe going 40 or 50 miles an hour. There's a big difference from where he started to where he ended.
Okay.
The how it started, how it's going meme, I guess.
And fair to say, if he was under the influence of marijuana at the time of these events and operated a vehicle and struck somebody and injured them, that would be a felony offense as well, correct?
Correct.
All right, thank you. I don't have anything else.
Thank you, Detective. You may step down. Thank you. Attorney Opper, any other witnesses?
No, sir, the state would rest.
Thank you. Attorney Keys, any witnesses?
No witnesses, defense rests.
Thank you. Any argument from the state, please?
The state will move for bind over without argument, Your Honor.
Thank you. Attorney Keys?
Your Honor, defense objects to bind over.
Thank you. Pursuant to what the law is, my decision on whether or not the state has presented sufficient evidence to show that the defendant probably committed a felony or felonies within the jurisdiction of the court, there is ample evidence on all
You think?
fronts as far as each of the group of counts, the counts 1 through 6, counts 7 through 67, 63 or 68, strike that, through 73, and then the felony bail jumps 74, 75. Each of those were discussed. There is ample evidence on each of those to show, sir, that you probably committed a felony or felonies within the jurisdiction of this court. And based upon that, I am going to bind you over for trial. Attorney Keys, have you received a copy of the information?
Your Honor, we're requesting an arraignment date, and we previously obtained one with Madam Clerk.
Okay. And would you like that in front of this court or the trial court?
I think it's been scheduled in front of this court.
That's fine. So that date, Madam Clerk?
February 11th at 10:15 back here.
All right, and so we do have further housekeeping. There is now a second amended victim witness identification key. I'm modifying the bail bond condition originally set that Mr. Brooks, you may not disseminate any information regarding that particular identification key except to your lawyers. Then I did neglect, and I don't mean to get further into the bail issues.
Kyle Pedley says, is he not being undercharged? How's he not being charged with intentional homicide? I seriously don't understand. Please explain. Because it might be hard to prove that he intended to kill someone. I mean, it seems reasonable that he intended to kill someone, but it's much easier to prove the vehicular homicide charges than intentional homicide. So going with a simpler fact pattern that's easier to understand. Did he intend to strike people with the vehicle? And then did they die from the vehicle? And it carries a 25-year sentence. I think intentional homicide would be a 30-year sentence. So, and he's probably going to get these consecutively anyway. You just go with the one that you can prove best, and vehicular homicide in Wisconsin fits the bill for this one.
But I did mean to ask at our last bail hearing if Mr. Brooks possesses a passport.
Yes, I know the stream volume's low. It's the pinned fucking comment. It's the pinned comment on the chat. The stream volume is low because the audio feed on the source videos, because the audio feed from the court was really low. So I had to turn myself down since I cannot turn it up for them anymore. That's why it's the pinned comment. It's also the first line of the description on the video. Oh my goodness.
No.
All right, if he does possess a passport, if he does post bail, I am ordering that that be turned over prior to being released to either the sheriff's department or the clerk of court's office, but I understand he does not, according to what he said. So anything else from the state?
Nothing else other than to request the prior condition of bail, obviously require Mr. Brooks to have no contact with the victims. We would ask you to extend that to all of the victims now in the second amended victim key.
Thank you, and I unless you want to be heard on that, Attorney Keys?
No.
I am going to grant that motion. So, Mr. Brooks, you may not have contact with any of the victims identified in the second amended victim witness identification key. And with that, unless there's anything else from the state.
In full compliance with all victim rights notification, Your Honor, there are some victims that are present personally and some that are.
Hold on.
Or there are. I was.
And with that, unless there's anything else from the state
Sorry.
before I get to.
I was typing, it skipped ahead.
Any comment by any of the victims?
I was going to address that as well, Your Honor. So we are in full compliance with all victim rights notification, Your Honor. There are some victims that are present personally and some that are participating in the live stream viewing, but we have fully complied with them. It's my understanding that no one wishes to address the court on scheduling. At least that was the information I was provided at the beginning of the hearing, and I'm being told at this point that that's still the case. We did confer with the people who are.
No, this guy is not free. This guy has a $5 million bail that he would have to post. He does not have that. The money was not raised. I checked to see if the GoFundMe for Black Lives Matter in Waukesha was still up. It is not. So he is bound over for trial. That means he will be in prison unless he posts a $5 million bail.
Present in the courtroom about that next court date of February 11th. Everybody who's here indicated that was an agreeable date. Certainly, if we find out that there's an objection to that date from others that would require the court taking that issue up, we will alert the court and the defense. But right now, we believe February 11th is agreeable to everyone, and nobody wishes to be heard further on scheduling, Your Honor.
And I'll recognize that your lead victim witness person is in the courtroom, and she was indicating to you that nobody wished to, as far as the victims, to be heard today.
Yes, correct.
Attorney Keys, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So we have our date. We'll gather up again on that next court date back here for an arraignment. Unless there's anything further, we can be adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
It's always weird to see like a horrific monster like this guy. When he looked at his attorney there and probably said something like, "Hey, thanks," before they brought him back out. He's got calm, like he looks calm, he looks normal. And it's like, just to think that not so long ago, he was intentionally running over a bunch of children with his vehicle. It's such a disconnect. It's so wild, like that amount of time that they have. As to why he even gets a $5 million bail, because bail is a constitutional right. You have a right to bail, and revoking that right takes a lot to do. Brett Schneider in Wisconsin, it's full cash bail. So he has to post the $5 million. Oh, he is charged with intent also? Okay, good. So he's charged with intentional homicide as well as the vehicular homicides. So in the alternative, I suppose. Britt Cormeyer says, if Minnesota can convict Kim Potter for a mistake that even the state admits she made, this should be a slam dunk, even if he claims it was a mistake in Wisconsin. I mean, it is across state lines, but what the hell? No, I mean, there's not really much defense for this. Was he there? Did the cops do their job? That's going to be the main thing. Did they follow their procedure? Did they respect his constitutional rights? And that's why you don't want to revoke bail. Because if they do revoke bail entirely, they don't give him the bail amount has to be reasonable. Now there's no way this guy can personally afford $5 million, and his bail would not be $5 million probably if he had not skipped bail, if he was not already out on skipping bail. But the bail amount has to be reasonable. And so if they had revoked bail and that bail revocation was found to be in some way prejudicial to him, that could be a mistrial. It could be a dismissal, or it could be a victory on appeal. You don't want that. You want this guy to go to prison forever. You want to do it right the first time and just get it taken care of. So That's the idea there. That's why you and a $5 million bail with 6 homicides is completely appropriate. Did I ever defend someone who had done something awful? I mean, yeah. How do you handle it mentally? Well, I mean, it depends on the defense that you take for it. You know, the people that I defended that have done something awful were, range from domestic abuse to large amounts of theft. And the question is, what do you do? And a lot of times it's a plea agreement. So anyway, get Jeremy for the quartering on for this one again. He's my go-to Wisconsin consultant now. That's great. That'd be good. I like Jeremy very much. He came on for some of the Rittenhouse stuff. And he was, he had astute assessments. He was good. But look, I have not done a ton of criminal defense stuff. I've not done a ton of criminal defense stuff because I live in a very small town and most of it's very petty, drug possession, stuff like that. And if someone came to me with a murder case, I would refer them to someone else most of the time. Or I'm saying in the hypothetical, no one approached me with a murder case, but if they had, I would refer them to someone else because you'd need more resources than I ever had to deal with that shit. So, not my, I had no reason to do that type of criminal law. But you do come across some awful stuff, life shattering stuff for victims in cases, and you just have to deal with it. But if you want to know other attorneys why there's a giant substance abuse problem in the legal field, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the big reasons. You have to deal with heavy stuff. So, let's see. Would I take the Canabro case again? No, because that's a public defender case, and I wouldn't want to be a public defender personally. Theodore, he's charged with intent. What do you quit whining? If I got a reckless driving ticket in Minnesota, could I expect to find a flyer in my mailbox from you? No, I'm not mailing out flyers for anything. Fuck that. Okay. Okay, let's do super chats here. And then we'll wind up the show. Sword Caliber over on Odyssey asks if I had any contact with Sydney Watson or Elijah Schaefer. I announced this last night. I'll probably announce it several times as we go through this. I will be on the You Are Here podcast on February 10th, down in studio with Sydney and Elijah. So yes, I have had contact with them, and I'll be on the show in February. All right. So without further ado, super chats, and then we'll probably wrap up the show at some point here. And this will be good times. Tonight there will be a show, 11 p.m. Central Time. We will probably be doing more stuff from the Wisconsin. I call it Canabro case because of my cannibalism theory, but the Chandler Halderson case, we'll be doing, I believe, some more hearings of that. Oh my goodness. So that should be fun. Do Scott Adams. Oh, that's good. Could maybe do the Scott Adams meltdown. And I'll say this again. I don't know what my travel schedule will look like for Dallas yet. Once I get that figured out, if there's a possibility of doing a meetup of some sort, then I will. Okay. People want the Scott Adams thing. Oh, the volume's going to be way off. Hold on. Hold on. Let me hear it. I might need to. Hold on 1 second. Let me hear how loud this is. What? Oh, I have it muted. Oh God, that's so loud. Hold on, I have to turn my own volume down. So, warning, in just a minute, I'm going to turn the stream volume back up to normal. Okay? This is a warning. I am turning the stream volume back up to normal. I'm going to give you a 5-second countdown for it. And then after that, I don't want you to die from the loudness that's coming. Okay, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we should be back up to normal at this point. We should be back up to normal. I hope everybody died from that. So there we go. All right. Now, apparently Scott Adams has had some sort of meltdowny rant of some sort, and people want me to share it. So let's talk about it here. I don't know anything about what's happening, but people are curious. So let's see. Here we go.
Scott's $1,000 life is short. We all know you got duped by COVID because your friends scared you into trying to save the world. Time to apologize. We'll accept it.
Uh-oh.
We're running out of patience. Shelley, fuck you, you stupid cunt. Let me say that. You are
Oh boy, he starts off calm at least. Okay, I love it. I'm with it. I'm on Scott's side right now. We'll see if it changes. Oh.
piece of fucking shit. Do not tell people what they think and then insult them in public, right? You can tell me what you fucking think, you small-minded piece of crap, but don't tell me what I think and then insult me in public when you're fucking wrong. Because here's the thing. I was definitely scared about civilization, but had nothing to do with getting a vaccination, because that scare came long before the vaccinations were available. And by the time the vaccinations were available, I wasn't afraid of the civilization failing. So you got your facts wrong, you got your timing wrong, you got your thinking wrong, and you're a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, get her.
Because you should not live in the world with other nice people. Because I got a feeling you're just as much of a piece of shit when you go home. I'll bet your family hates your fucking guts behind your back. I guarantee it. With that kind of an attitude. The fact that you can come after me with your fucking imaginary problems, put them in my head, and then blame them for me means that your family is probably getting the same treatment. I feel sorry for your husband. I hope your husband's watching, because he's agreeing with me right now. He's nodding with me. Yes, you are an imaginary, shit-stirring, probably a narcissist, piece of shit.
More. Give me more.
That's what I think of you, Shelley. So I wouldn't join these live streams again if I were you.
I would come back for that all day. Berate me harder, Scott. Holy shit. he nailed her. It's definitely Shelley who's getting the bad end of that exchange. Oh my goodness. Evil Ash says Clot Adams must have been watching your stream to up the bants. Boomer goes boom. Scott Adams is the author of Dilbert, the Dilbert comic, or creator, whatever, maker, guy who does. Whew. It's always good to see. Look, spicy takes are spicy. They need to happen more often. People are calling Scott out lately. The background of the overall thing. The background of it is that Scott has had some takes on COVID mandates lately that his audience that he's been cultivating is not super on board with. And in the fact that I believe Scott has been pro mandate. So, you know, that's and that seems to be generating some of the animosity happening at the time. Noah Tobar, it's not just that YouTube could be calling live viewers. The other thing is that people come and go, and the poll's been up a long time. Okay. Ken, that is awesome to hear, buddy. I hope everything goes well. So yes, I have a new picture. It's not new. I've just got to hang it in my office, and I haven't done it yet. So I thought I'd just have it visible for the stream. It's not going to be visible on normal streams typically, but I like it. I like it. It's a great picture. Okay. Odyssey has a couple chats here. Dusty Det says, are you and Bronca still going to deliver self-defense books to the Kenosha County DA office? Yeah, we might have to wait until it's like spring to do that, because the weather is a nightmare, and traveling to here and traveling up to there is a pain. But so we might do that in spring, where maybe Bronco like ride his motorcycle out to Minnesota or something, and then we'll shoot over to Kenosha. Malik Foxton says, I'm filing suit for you destroying my eardrums after ample warning coupled with a countdown, you bigot. Good. Yeah, Neo Akira, I did say I'd hang the cat one, but everybody likes the cat one. If I hang it, it's not going to be in the picture. So many people like the cat picture. I kind of just left it there because that's where people can see it. All right. What do we have? Let's do this. Let's do the super chats now. All right. Mike says, the media buried this story instantly because their narrative caused it. I believe this attack was in direct response to the Rittenhouse verdict. I'm so glad you're covering this. Yeah, I think that's a common sentiment, and I share it. I think there's some element of response to Rittenhouse with this one. I can't prove it. I'm not aware of any proof of it, but you know, the timing of it, the media narrative about Kyle Rittenhouse, coupled with some of the representations this guy's made online, make it seem like that's a possibility. So, you know, I'm hesitant to ascribe intent or motive to people, but I think, you know, I'm okay with that theory. I'd like to hear more about it though. Jay Darkness says that SUV was mostly peaceful. Glad you're covering this as well. Justice for the Ford Escape. Justice for the Ford Escape. Death Wish. We've got it's got Myers, Leatherface. It's got Freddy Krueger. Down here is Pinhead that you can't see off camera, and then the other one is Jason Voorhees. Andrew White says, hey, Nick, I know it's off topic, but what do you think Kim Potter's chances are at a successful appeal? Low. All appeal chances are low. Or is the cesspool that is Minneapolis too cancerous for her to overcome? Look, the chances for a successful appeal are low, but they are there. I mean, it's a mistake. Mistake is often not prosecuted and convicted There were some real issues with the way that the prosecutors explained the law in their closing argument. They got 2 shots at the closing argument. There were some issues with some of the witnesses. There was the issue with the Engel case being brought up, or not being addressed. Them not being allowed to challenge the expert who said that their expert for the state actually just said that they could let the guy go and he could be picked up later, and they weren't allowed to challenge that or anything. So there's some real problems with what happened, but appeals are always low odds. And as Bronca says, appeals are for losers. So we'll see what happens. Dusty Debt says, let us know. I drive by Kenosha as a trucker and I have family in Kenosha. Would love to meet both of you. Yeah, if we're going to do it, we'll, I assume we'll make it kind of clear about that. Oh, let me unpin the volume is low comment since it's not there. Not like anybody read it anyway. Debabo3 says the crowd was getting ready to assault him with their backs turned, with a parade holding their attention. Shock25957, thank you for the donation. Trevor R said he aborted less kids than a Planned Parenthood clinic on a slow Tuesday. My roads, my choice. Shock says, where was the RV on January 6th? I have no idea. What RV? Sackett, thank you for joining at paralegal level. Cumberbatch Pepperpot says, no presidential pardon from Biden. He can't pardon a state crime. I know that's a joke or whatever, but presidents cannot pardon state crimes. The governor of Wisconsin, in theory, could. But I think a lot of the state pardon powers require a conviction first. The presidential pardon does not require a conviction first. That's why the McCloskeys, the governor of Missouri or whatever, had to wait until the McCloskeys were actually convicted before he could pardon them. I don't know if you guys saw, but the McCloskeys have filed a petition to get their guns back, which I think is a really interesting sort of case, because they were convicted and forfeited the guns, but now they've petitioned to recover them after the pardon. I'm wondering if they're even still around. They may have been destroyed by now. Gino Fast says Channel 3000 might let you stream. Yeah, it's I didn't know if Channel 3000 had covered this hearing. When I searched, the only ones I saw were Law and Crime and Fox 6. So we've got whatever. Look, if Law and Crime is going to be stupid about it, then I'm going to make fun of them constantly. I will do it all the time. I will mock them incessantly for being little babies about it. That nothing brings me more joy than doing stuff like that. But I don't know what they have no discernible claim. And if they're gonna cut off their own views to try and spite me, very, very silly. Very, very silly approach, but it could have been a coincidence. It could have been a coincidence. Let's see. Ian Calhoun says, you've probably given Law and Crime more free exposure than they've ever had, and this is how they choose to thank you. Well, whatever. Curly Bap says, hey, Nick, greetings from Northern Ireland. Seeing as we have the oldest distillery in the world, what are your thoughts on Bushmills? Bushmills, that's a Protestant whiskey. Ryan Berkebile says, how would one go about proving sedition regarding the 1 to 6 trials? I'm not familiar enough with the cases that have actually been charged out with sedition, but maybe I'll look into that. Maybe I'll look into that for a video on how you would go through it. But I couldn't comment on it right now. It's not something I've done extensive research on. Ryan Keeler says, is it on purpose or just the best coincidence ever that he is wearing the same color as the SUV? He's in a prison jumpsuit or a jail jumpsuit right now. Ashley Truth Hurts says, my son turned 13 yesterday. Happy birthday, everyone. Oh, awesome. Happy birthday to your son. Quicks says, Nick, I'm humbled, but you really think we can read? Perihelion says, hey, Kurt, I'm from a poor country and I can only afford one grifter in my life. I also don't want to line Susan's pockets, but if you had a locals, ... Jamie Moodley says, I'm begging you, please re-upload the Ray streams. Ooh, woo. Yes, I've got to go find them. They're all archived on this channel. I mean, I broadcast them on this channel. So I just have to go find them and make them public. Let's see. Nick Naylor says, Kurt, are you doing any better? Did you make your deadline? Bad Guacamole says, if you used a 2-channel DAC and small mixing board with compression, you wouldn't have this audio problem. Yes. Yes, you would. You still have the problems because it's StreamYard. It's StreamYard. I'm telling you. Ryan Berkebile says, Nick, have you tried doing a stream with good audio? Just kidding. Love the show. Aaron Anderson, thank you for the donation. He also says, enhancer for YouTube can boost the YouTube only audio. Should help a great deal. Nope, I'm not doing. I'm on principle. I will never, ever add that extension. It's not going to happen ever. Nope. Not going to do it. Logos says no's. Tor Theo says, I'd vape Jack Daniels too if I was this judge. Not Wraith says, don't charge on count 33. It was a simple GG easy moment. Squizgar 2322 lol victim GG easy. The Denialist says, who knew a tragedy would have such comedy? Mike Sullivan says, victim DDD had a hell of a rack. Cameron Nelson says, victim KKK not guilty lol. Gawker's Death Rattle says, headline soon. Judge says Darrell drove over KKK. Hold on one second. Schmandolf says, KKK final victim in Darrell Brooks rampage. Soul Fiend says, well, we already knew he can't drive. Look how many people he hit. Gawker's Death Rattle says, if you run over AAA, they won't come fix your SUV. Good point. Good point. Alex Scott Thompson says, he's an SUV. Revocation of driving privilege is inhumane. Stephen Cooper says, if he isn't convicted on all counts, would you rather only count 63 or every one count except 63? so just victim KKK. Oh gosh. For the memes, only 63. In reality, every count except 63. But gosh, that's good. Barry Dworak says, song to play in background, Murder by Numbers by the Police. Scarvy the Strange says, how many points did this guy get in Death Race 2000? Oh, a lot. A lot of points. Very, very much on the points. Knight of Knee says, let's go, Brandon. Bad Dragon Knight says, Nick, you must be allergic to sleep like me. Scarvy the Strange says, Jack Murphy would have been XXX. Marcel DeFore says, honest question, why go to trial with something like this? Because you're not going to get a plea deal that's any better than what you're going to get at trial 9 times out of 10. I mean, they could offer a plea deal that limits it to 25 years or something, and he'd probably be wise to take that. But no, I don't think they're going to give him one. Mark Brazel says, victim KKK is named Clayton Bigsby. Blazecast says, why aren't the traffic cops on trial for dereliction of duty? Kids would be alive if they took action like we had to in Afghanistan. Because the cops can't do stuff like that. They would be on trial for murder. El Gonzo 1000 says, wasn't the car driving itself? Yes. Turskaton says, you think people who commit murder should be ended swiftly and set their heads on the wall to show what happens if you commit murder? I'm actually not generally in favor of the death penalty, mainly for this following reason. I don't believe the state is good at doing anything, and I don't trust them to kill the citizenry appropriately. Now, obviously, there are exceptional cases where clearly someone did something that would merit death, and we know it's them. This one right now looks like that, right? This looks pretty clear. The problem I have is where the state goes for death penalties in other instances where it's not as clear. So I have some issues with that. Fenris Skull says, when found guilty, will he get the full 1,200 years or is it limited to the longest sentence of one charge? P.S. What's your beverage tonight? Much love. Right now I'm just drinking ginger ale. He someone said it's in the judge's discretion, consecutive or concurrent. I'll do some research and figure out. But I would think that if there is a way to do consecutive charging on this one, he's going to get it. Rusty Shackelford says, but you trust them to throw people into the grape dungeon for the rest of their lives. No, I just believe that the appeal process has some functionality. I mean, if the choice is no prison at all, I'm not sure how society works out that way. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but assuming we're going to have a criminal justice system, yeah, I'll take the death penalty with appeal, or the life sentences with appeals over the death penalty personally. But I'm not, I'm open to other discussions. But like I said, as a general matter, I don't have much faith in the state to do. I mean, I don't have much faith in the state to prosecute petty crimes, frankly, but they're going to do it. So, Hera Diamante, welcome to Paralegal Status. Deep Service says no SUV has ever tried to save a human. Case closed. William Barnes says, Your Honor, prosecution requests permission to refer to the defendant as this effing N-word throughout the proceedings. How did you get around that? That's quite an accomplishment, William. TR Greater Rex says, have you ever tried Sons of Aaron Irish whiskey? I think it's my new go-to $35 bottle and doesn't try to kill you going down like American whiskeys. No, I've not had Sons of Aaron. Nancy Duggan says, cheers from Wyoming. Love the channel. Can you explain why in the world they would give him bail again? So disturbing. Thanks. It's because it's a constitutional right, and because refusal of bail outright could be grounds for a dismissal. Kingslayer Damocles says, I compel you to not download the YouTube audio booster. Oh, you think you can outlogic me on that one? You can't do it. Jensen Zeiger says, just got in. The fact there is a trial not pleading is insane. Well, it's up to him to accept a plea deal, and it'd be up to the prosecutors to give him one that he'd want to take. If you're going to go to prison for life, you might as well make him do a trial on it. David Joyner says, since Mr. Brooks is accused of killing and maiming children, do you think future fellow inmates may view him as the same as child bad toucher criminals? Possibly. Who knows? Brian Birch says Havoc should have been an option. Perlandra, Law and Crime, quote, just make the audio really quiet and Nick can't steal from us anymore. Nick normalizes audio. Law and Crime, abort. Too Many Clamps says, keep your hands out of your pockets so you don't pull out any concealed SUVs. Tyler M say, I still say he was justified. Who has a Christmas parade before Thanksgiving? They were asking for it. Tofu Poncho says, I've been thinking about doing streaming audio consultations, answering questions about compression, etc. Okay if I reach out. You can, but I'm a stubborn old coot. So Scott Campbell says, is this the pretrial for the white supremacists attacking an innocent BLM activist by throwing themselves at and under his SUV? Yes, it is. Thank God they put all those people in prison too. Jamie Van Zant says, is it leading when the attorney makes a statement followed by correct? Typically, yes. But remember, cross-examination, you are allowed, and not only allowed, but encouraged to lead the witness. Dougie Fresh says, any family lawyers on here that can help me answer questions? Jamie Ives says, does anyone care major corporations have not changed their stance on mandates even with the Supreme Court ruling? I mean, I care, but I talked about that being the case, that was going to be the likely outcome. Grape Malenko, welcome to Paralegal Status. Glad to have a juggalo on board. Bear Lou says, we came a long way since Kevin Landau, Nick. That's true. We have. Long way. Poor Landau. Where the hell did that go? Kyle Pedley says, wait, so is the max he can get 25 years? If so, it seems incredibly low to me. Unless it's 25 per victim, then that's pretty good. Also good stuff. Found you a couple weeks ago. Appreciate the work. Well, it turns out someone mentioned the intentional homicides are still on the table. And if that's the case, it's longer than 25 years. But even if they're not, he'd probably get, I shouldn't say probably, he'd possibly get consecutive sentencing, where if he was charged with all of the crimes, I mean, he's facing something like 1,000 years in prison. Patrick Allen says, dude was straight sleeping during the cop questioning. Nothing for you to do, man. When you're in court and you're not testifying as a defendant, you're just there. There's nothing for you to do. You can't say anything really. You just spend 8 hours sitting. Well, in this case, an hour, but still, there's just nothing for you to do. Ghosts of Aces say, I may be a bad person, but I hope there's a Gary Plausch copycat out there and this guy doesn't make it to trial. Leif Sandegger says, would first degree manslaughter fit here as well, or is he charged with that too? So he's got the vehicular homicides are going to come out similar to a manslaughter charge. Circle of Snakes says, headlines. Preliminary hearing for red SUV accused of running over people in Wisconsin began today. Bias heavily against Chevy, Ford favorable. Frankie and Dujo says, assistance with a business law class. What would it cost, generally speaking, to file a lawsuit for $50,000 in Minnesota? The filing fee? I mean, the filing fee is going to be about $400, something like that. As for what it's going to cost for you to hire an attorney for a $50,000 suit, depending on the suit, I mean, your retainer is going to be probably north of 10 grand, 15 maybe. But it depends on the suit, the size of the business, where you are, what level of attorney you have, all of that stuff. But yeah, you've got, but the court filing fee, $400 ish, somewhere around there. Brian Tracer says, do Scott Adams. We did. Pride or Honesty says, did Anna Salter's colleague, Mike Arsfault testify? Yes. A crafty Huragok says, I wear a headset and you did blow my eardrums out. Based Kunt comment. AR says, you have to watch Vox Day's reaction to this Gamma Male Adams. Okay, maybe tonight. TGS says, but Shelley wasn't wrong, though. Doesn't seem to be. But Scott lit her up. Look, I can appreciate lighting someone up. I can also appreciate a complete meltdown. I'm happy with all of it. Everything makes me laugh, so I'm good. Susan Graves, welcome to Paralegal Status. Very, very happy to have you. Cannon Jarrah says, have you heard anything new about Mike Long? Yes, Mike Long's just filed an appeal. He just filed his appeal in the Sophie Long case. It's 117 pages, although I think about 60 or 70 pages or so of that is our appendices. I think the filing itself is about 55 to 60 pages. So I've got to check. When I say what level of lawyer is, I'm not talking in the role-playing sense. I'm talking about, are you hiring a solo practitioner? Are you hiring a specialist in business law? Are you hiring an associate attorney at a big law firm? Are you hiring, a junior partner or a senior partner of a law firm? That's what I mean. Come on. How many years has this person been practicing? I'm not talking role-playing levels. Although I am a level 99 lawyer. Bobby Collins says, geez, Nick, you could have warned us about the volume change. Lol. Tim Bionda says, do you have an old PC you can use to play the courtroom stream? No, I'm not doing that either. Take that output into your main setup, then attenuate the volume of the courtroom. No, again, if I was doing this in OBS by myself with just a video, really easy to crank up the volume. StreamYard is a very convenient way to share video that is not OBS and also share it with a guest. And so that's why I've been using StreamYard, because with the panels, it's a really clean and simple way to do it without any maintenance on my end. Like I don't have to Like take everybody's individual video feed and crop it out and put it into, into like the little windows that move around. Like, well, I can't really do any windows right now because I don't have anything pulled up, but it's a very simple format for that type of stuff. I didn't know the audio on this one was going to be so horrendously low. But no, if I was doing it in OBS, it's really easy to just add gain in post-processing. StreamYard has shit audio and they need to give more control over it. That's the end solution here for StreamYard. And if they don't do that, they're going to lose clients really soon. And I purchased StreamYard at the top tier. I'll happily withdraw my money for an alternative. In StreamYard, you have a very big competitor in the works right now, just so you know. So you may want to up your fucking game. Let's see. The Dalek says victim AA was just a simple battery. I'll see myself out now. Tekadan says go off on volume people like Scott. Listen here, you insufferable shitbag volume loving cunts. Okay? I know what I'm fucking doing. And you come out, you're a terrible person. You're a terrible piece of shit. You come out here, you accuse someone in public, you pile of garbage. I bet your 6 husbands, boyfriends, wives are all watching right now, and they hate you too. You know what? Fuck you and your audio elitism, you pieces of human trash. You seem Semitic receptacles. You disgusting merkin wearing labial flaps. You come in here, you criticize me. You criticize me of having bad audio. Have you even heard yourself? No one heard you. No one heard you because no one likes you. No one has ever listened to you in your entire life. You're unlikable. You're disgusting. You smell. I can smell you through my earphones when you type, you ogress. There you go. There. Okay. Next we've got Sassy Gal Beauty. Welcome to Super Lawyer. Status Johnny Osprey says, here's your missing theory for the Halderson murders. Kress was running a human sacrifice cult. Very possible. Very possible. William Barnes says, you have to speak in an accent beyond Susan's range of hearing. Nicholas Gray, welcome to Super Lawyer Status. Very happy to have you. Nancy Dugan says, J6 have been refused bail, no court date, no murders. So what gives? I honestly hate our justice system. Well, I mean, just because you have a constitutional right to bail doesn't mean you're going to get it. And what's the remedy? Like, think about the differences here. A lot of the January 6 defendants have been locked up for as long or close to as long or even longer in some cases than the maximum sentence they could get, right? So if their cases are dismissed now, what does the government lose? Nothing. But if the government has a case dismissed on someone facing 1,000 years, then they lose, they lose a lot more. Plus the January 6 defendants are extremely unpopular to the right people, the media. Oh, goodness. Whew. That was weird. They're extremely unpopular to the media, which means that the government's not going to get called out on it. But if Darrell Brooks, oh my goodness, if they denied him bail, this beautiful, beautiful driver of peace. Okay, Timothy Crystal says, according to critical race theory, if all the victims were white, then this is legit self-defense. True. Semitic burp. Tor Theo says, ask Runkle to report when Brooks gets out of prison. Okay, the Runkle elf jokes. I was looking at that chat for just a second before I read it, and I was like, what the hell is he talking about? And then I read it out loud, and I realized where it went. They're so good. They're so good. Jackpot Springs, welcome to Paralegal Status. Tor Theo says, lighting someone up is beta AF if due to butt hurt. Well, no, yeah. I mean, look, Did Scott Adams do the wrong thing here? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. He did. It's still funny. It's funny that he's acting like that, right? Like that is a funny thing. 2, his words are pretty funny too. But 3, yeah, just sit back and enjoy it. It's all good. It's all good. Next we've got Crusader Saracen says all these flavors and Scott chose to be salty. There you go. But who said something about a 5-minute wait? Fish Sinker says, howdy, 5-minute wait, excruciatingly painful. Lol, I'm new. What 5-minute wait? I don't know what you mean. Have I seen Flecka's talk about Crenshaw today? Nope. I don't know what that is. Okay. I think that's what we got for the show today. Which is perfect. It's not the longest show, but that's okay. It's Friday. We'll be back for some we'll be back for a show tonight at 11 p.m. Central. 5 minutes to chat for sub only mode. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yes. Sorry. That's unfortunately with the Chinese porn spam bots and other things like that. It's there. Maybe I'll drop it to 1 minute at some point, but have I heard of Salty Cracker? Yeah. I've heard of him. But yeah, so I'll be back at 11 p.m. Central Time. We'll be talking probably about the kid who allegedly and most likely murdered and chopped up his parents and maybe even ate them, or at least parts of them tonight. I think that's what we're going to be doing. If there's some other subjects, maybe we'll bring those up too. Not really sure exactly what other plan there would be, but there can always be something that comes up. So I'll see you guys then. I hope you have a good day. Until then, and yeah, go check out Friday Night Tights if you're looking for something to watch. Good live stream with some good peoples over there. We'll catch you then. All right, guys, have a good night. Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an Ardbeg, a Balmore, a Lethbrook. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nam to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all planet folks from Dundee to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nam to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law